Senator Canavan, in my new role as Greens spokesperson for Agriculture and Rural Affairs, I've already had multiple representations from farmers, growers and industry representatives who say they are fearful of the introduction of the backpacker tax and what it will mean for their businesses. Could the minister please outline to the Senate the impact that uncertainty over the proposed backpacker tax is having on the farmers planning for future harvests?
Minister Canavan.
Thank you, Mr President. I thank the senator for her question. It is an issue that I have met with people just today to discuss as well, some farmer representatives, and certainly in my area there are plenty who have raised this issue with the government. And that is why the government has, during the election, announced a review of the changes that were made or announced in last year's budget. We announced that we would provide relief to the sector for 6 months. During that campaign, we announced that we will consult widely on any changes that might be proposed to us as a government and what changes could be afforded within the budget environment. This is an important change to be made to our migration and working holiday visa arrangements. I would put on the record that the industry itself, and certainly the farming representatives I met this morning, do recognise the need for change in this particular space. That at the moment, given changes that were made when the carbon tax came in, the tax-free threshold went up to $18,200, such that many of our workers on working holiday visas at the moment do not pay tax and do not contribute. And I certainly believe that all Australians, all people here, non-Australians as well, working here, should contribute to our public service.
Order, Senator Canavan. Senator Rice, point of order.
Point of order, Mr President. Can you request the minister to return to the core of my question, which is the uncertainty that the issue about the backpacker tax is currently having on farmers planning for future harvests?
Thank you, Senator Rice. That was the core of order. Order on my left. That was the core of your question. The minister has been addressing his experience with concerns, but I will remind the minister of the question. Minister.
Thank you, Mr President. And look, I was meeting with those farmers this morning, Senator Rice. I was hearing the concerns they have, but that is why the government has listened to those concerns. That is why we have announced this review. That is why we are consulting with them and meeting with them. And we will make decisions shortly once that review is complete, and they will be announced before the end of the year, such that farmers can plan their business going into next year.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Rice, supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Minister, could you please inform the chamber which specific stakeholders you've met with and to discuss the backpacker tax, and further inform the chamber about the details of the concerns they've raised with you about this ill-considered tax? One that I understand has been you have concerns have been reported as saying was too high, and that Senator O'Sullivan has said was a massive mistake.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr President. This morning, Senator Rice, I met with Mr Shanil Bassianaki, who's I believe the CEO of the NT Farmers organisation. Obviously keep very closely in touch with those organisations in Northern Australia. Given my other ministry, I have met many organisations over the past 6 months and discussed these issues. It was first raised for me in Bowen with the Bowen Fruit and Growers Association. It is one of, I'm sure you realise, Senator Rice, has been a topic of conversation. But as I said in the answer to the previous question, this is a change that the industry itself and farming representatives itself recognises that there needs to be some change. The question now before the government and following this review is what change that will be and how we can maintain our competitive and strong agricultural sector for the benefits of all Australians.
On my right, order. Order. Senator O'Sullivan and Senator O'Neill. Senator Rice.
Thank you, Mr President. Could the minister please inform the chamber as to whether the government is now planning to introduce the backpacker tax via legislation, or on whether they intend to rely on a tax ruling that's likely to be subject to a legal challenge?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr President. I can indicate the government will be making these decisions, as I said, in answer to previous questions, following this review by the end of the year. and we have provided that relief over 6 months. Now, the senator has raised issues of uncertainty for the farming sector. Well, there is no greater uncertainty for farmers in this country than the policies of the Australian Greens. That's the uncertainty that our farming sector principally face often in my state, in my dealings, particularly in Northern Australia, where the Greens would not like farmers to develop any land, to develop any irrigation to create new jobs. That's the uncertainty that our farmers face.
Order. Point of order, Senator Rice.
Point of order, Mr President. My question was specifically as to whether the government intends to rely on a tax ruling that's likely to be subject to a legal challenge or to introduce a tax-fire legislation.
Thank you, Senator Rice. I will remind the minister of the question. Minister.
Well, Mr President, as I thought I did indicate to the chamber, decisions on the aspects that went to the senator's question will be made following this review and before the end of the year, and that will be announced in time for the industry to plan for the next season.